I get to say it how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be accommodating. I get to dictate how I want it to sound, how I want it to feel. I get to give my 2 cents. I get to speak on it. I get to have these conversations, share my thoughts on this, my little take on that. And then I can go into my life and be the laid back, accommodating person that I really am, because I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel like, no, I'm good. I got to say what I think.
Yes.
And so I don't feel defensive.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has a different point of view, I don't feel resentful if I'm going to be patient or accommodating with somebody, because I know I have my space to say my thing. So that's kind of what that song signifies, you know what I mean? And that's what it's about, you know? It's like one of the gifts of music is just you can give your 2 cents, but then you can keep it moving.
Here in The Cut, we challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Adriel Smiley. Now on the cool table, we challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Today we have second time joining us. Second time. First time.
Wait. We've spoken many times, but I don't know if I've been here in the flesh.
In the first time in the flesh.
Yeah.
First time flesh. That sounds good. First time flesh.
Yeah.
And first time ice cream. But last time I think you had a smoothie.
That's right.
Yeah. First time in the flesh. First time with the ice cream. Juno Award winner. 5-time player shortlisted. CBC called him the second greatest rapper in Canadian history.
Okay.
That I think is my favorite of all the accolades that you have, because it's the first time second sounds like so good. But second greatest rapper in Canadian history, former host of CBC Radio 1's Q, 2016 Peabody Award winner, 2017 International Emmy Award winner, and living legend. Shad, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Can I start?
Yes. So tell us about the flavor you chose.
Yeah.
Why you chose the flavor, and what do you think your chances are of actually getting to the bottom of this?
I got a basketball run tonight. So this is going to be rough if I can make it to the bottom. But I got what is this? Apple pie. Vegan.
Yes.
Vegan apple pie.
Safe for the stomach. Yeah. Big shout out to Eva's Original Chimneys. They're our ice cream sponsor for all of season 3. I have actually planned to play basketball later today as well.
Okay.
So I'm with you on this.
Okay.
If you have too much, it's gonna be all jumpers.
That's already where I'm at. But.
No, I'm comparing my game these days to like Bucks Damian Lillard. I'm like, it's just all deep threes, and if no one's in the lane, it's a layup. But there's none of this like,
no,
break your man down.
I realized the other day, like I haven't grabbed a rebound in like 3 months. I just don't go in there.
No, it's and what I realize now is I'm not in basketball shape. So it's like the first couple of games, I got a little more crossover. I got the moves. As the game goes on, it's like walking up the court, Mark Jackson back to the basket. And it's funny because there's moments where if I could run, it's a clear bucket, and I just don't. I can't cut to the basket. Like I'm almost playing point guard by necessity, because that's all I can really do. Yeah. But as long as I can play for like 10 more years, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Keep it going.
Yeah. I want to start talking about this album. Start Anew comes out October 31st. Well, this album, maybe the second time I was like, this might be my favorite production from an album from you. Even though I feel like you've done more experimental stuff or left of center stuff production-wise. Yeah. Would you agree with that? And talk about the production on this project.
Yeah. No, that's cool. What I tried to do production-wise was exactly to your point. I tried to do less. You know, I have experimented a lot in the past, especially in the last few albums. And I really enjoyed that because I love music so much. So part of just getting to make music is getting to explore all the music that I love and different sonic palettes or whatever, however you want to term it, that I love. But this one, I wanted to come back to something a little more simple, really in my strike zone. A lot of the, reflecting a lot of the hip hop that I grew up with and fell in love with, and that's kind of imprinted on me, is in my DNA, and not mess with it too much, Because ultimately, lyrically, I do what I do, which is pretty dense, right? So no need to make it dense on the music side as well. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I'm glad that you felt that way and appreciated that, because that was intentional. I did want to keep it more simple on the production side.
Yeah, it was like less is more this time around. Because you said this is like the ending of a trilogy between a short story about war and Tao. And it's funny, sonically, I'm like, I don't know where like the trilogy fits.
Yeah.
But I think probably themes-wise is where it feels like this is really the closing of some kind of chapter. Obviously the name, Start Anew. This really feels like the Shad album that, like, if it were in 05, let's go back in time.
Yeah.
And you said, what does Shad sound like in 20 years? This probably would be the album that I would think of that's like, this is where it's going to evolve to. So I like that this album is kind of called Start Anew, because this sound has almost like come back in a sense. And I feel like this is, almost like your training wheels were never came off. You always kind of were ready for this. But talk about the trilogy finishing up. Like, where does this story end in your mind?
Yeah, so I guess I'll say a couple things. One, I agree with you in terms of there is a relationship between this and even the beginning of my career. You know, definitely I think about it thematically with the last couple albums, but there is a connection to the beginning of my career. First album's called When This Is Over. This one's called Start Anew. It's almost like there's a conversation there. And sonically, yes, it does feel also like I'm going back to my roots, kind of like I was saying. Like these are some of the sounds that, imprinted on me when I was young and first getting into hip hop. But in terms of the last couple albums, I feel like the way I look at my own catalog is I feel like my first few albums was me telling my story. And I was really compelled and inspired to do that. Like we do in hip hop. It's like a vehicle for us talking about who we are and where we come from and putting those stakes in the ground and saying, this is me. This is what I have to say. And by proxy, these are all the people I represent as well, And then at a certain point, I felt really satisfied with that. And just naturally, my evolution became towards sort of reflecting more on the world and my sense of things as I look out, and less about me and more about this is my sense of things, And that's partly because I told my story a lot. And it was also partly because, man, the world became a very interesting, confusing place.
One way to say it.
You know what I'm saying? So I think both of those kind of worked in tandem and created a situation where the last couple albums have been me trying to sort out what's going on in the world. And so, a short story about a war was me thinking a lot about peace and how difficult peace really is. Always with these albums, even though I'm thinking about the world, I'm thinking about what's going on underneath it all, and a little bit less about the hot button topics. I mean, I'm thinking about those things, but what I'm really commenting on and trying to understand is what's going on. More deeply with all of us, right? So, a short story about a war is really about peace and how hard peace really is. And then Tao is also kind of reflecting on that same thing and just thinking about how, man, we're so disconnected from each other, from meaningful work, from the environment, from our spirits. Like, we're just disconnected in so many ways. People talk a lot about the division between people and left and right and that sort of thing, but we're disconnected in a lot of ways.
That's different directions,
in many different ways. And so Tao was about that, and Start Anew is about well, the idea behind that was like, man, maybe a lot of these problems, a lot of this disconnection, a lot of this challenge with resolving conflict and finding peace, maybe a lot of it comes down to this human thing of it's hard to confront the ending and it's hard to start anew. So thinking about certain problems, like think about the MAGA movement. Make America Great Again. Well, what's going on with that? A lot of things are going on with that. But one thing that's going on with that is like not being able to accept change.
Yeah. It's like you want things to stay the same.
You want things to stay the same or go back to some imagined past. It's like, when has that ever happened? It's a physical impossibility.
I think it's like a human,
but it's a human desire.
But it's almost like Earl had a quote in an interview where he said, "I thought I was above the human experience," and I totally resonated with that because there are times where I felt that about certain things. It's like I'm too good to feel this emotion over here that doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
but I think the idea of people not wanting things to change is inherent in people so much, and everyone has their own version of what they don't want to change more. Like I've always said, when it comes to parents and children, the greatest, I guess, part of their relationship is when the parents can accept the kids as an equal. And it's like sometimes you don't want that to happen, you know? And you see sometimes when you meet people and they meet their parents and you go, oh, like I've had that with my friends where, you know, I've known them for a decade. I meet their parents and I go, oh, the math is mathing here. So you're talking about change. It's like, it's that part of everyone that is so deep that we can't change it. And then I forget the name of the writer, but he talks about kind of like the happiness quota you have for yourself. When I always link the happiness quota to change, where it's basically the idea is you're used to living a certain way. And so if being a certain amount of happy is outside of that, your body's gonna kind of regulate itself to like go back to what you're used to because the happiness is so uncomfortable. So the goal is to make this version of happiness so comfortable that you don't have to revert out of it. So
you don't have to self-sabotage or whatever.
Exactly. So I think what you're talking about is everyone feeling their own versions of that in life and not interacting with other people.
That's it. So it's like, again, I'm looking at what's going on in the world and there's all these hot button topics, but I'm real curious about, well, what's going on underneath it though, right? And so MAGA is one example. Another example I bring up is like climate crisis. Okay. We all know there's an issue. We see the wildfires. We see all this stuff. So what's the challenge? Well, the challenge is we know we need to do things differently, but we don't know how. Or we're scared to try because it involves stepping into some unknown, right? What if I can't use my car as much? What if I can't, what is this going to mean? It's going to mean something different. It's going to mean change, and change is hard.
There's an admission of guilt there too.
And
of like the way I've been doing this the whole time has contributed to this huge problem. You know, so to look at yourself and say, I've done wrong here, but I'm not a bad person. That takes a kind of a personal nuance that some people don't have.
Listen, it's hard. Self-awareness is really hard. I feel like what I'm trying to say with Start Anew is I'm not trying to point fingers because I'm saying like you said, it's an inherent challenge for human beings to say I'm sorry. To change course. To step into the unknown. This is a inherent human challenge, but we can do it. And in fact, we have to.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
Literally don't have a choice.
No.
I saw this TikTok the other day talking about how hip hop is its own language. On the Album Mode podcast, we talk about that all the time, where if you listen to hip hop, you're just not hip to that it being its own language. But there's like slang, like lyric devices that are not used in other genres of music.
No.
And someone commented, so rap is for smart people. And you're someone who I think of when I hear a quote like that, because I'm like, it is very much hip hop to its core, but there's almost like a certain level of understanding. To understand your music. On Slanted, you had this line where you said, is it progress if the path is to disaster? Talk about that.
This is what I'm saying. So like, Start Anew. Like, okay, so there's so many things you could talk about with that, or examples I could give. But let's talk about AI. Is it progress if the path is to disaster? Is it progress? Right? We have this view of technology. I'll tell you what's real curious about it to me. In our own lives, in our own individual lives, all the time, we'll put limits on ourselves.
100%.
All the time. All the time. It's a natural thing to do. I could do this, but I'm not going to because I know that it could be detrimental or even potentially detrimental. I've done some risk-reward calculation, and I'm not going to do it. Yet for some reason,
when it comes to AI
technology, we have no choice but to pursue this to whatever its end is, even if it's our destruction. There's this guy, Geoffrey Hinton, who's considered the godfather of AI. He just got a Nobel Prize. He the godfather of AI,
Mm-hmm.
ballparks the chance that AI will destroy us at 10 to 20%. Okay. I like to think of things on a simple scale. It helps me think about it.
Yes.
If something were to potentially destroy me and my family at 10 to 20% chance, just me and my family, what would the reward have to be?
To be worth that.
To be worth that.
The biggest.
Exactly. It would actually have to be very simply like there's a greater threat that makes taking on this threat worthwhile.
Yes, this 10 to 20% pales a comparison
to this.
Yes.
That's the only way. And yet, we don't seem to talk about that with AI. We're kind of talk about the upside is so far, emails are easier, I guess, and the youth can't find a job. I mean, like, what are we doing?
What
is it progress if the path is to disaster? Can we please stop and ask the question?
I think that's a big part of how people kind of view technology, but also view themselves in technology. Because what you're saying is 100% true. And not just Jeff, but a ton of the leaders in AI have had caution of this is not completely safe. Like saying that, you know, AI can lie to you. AI is inherently racist. Like the list goes on. So when the guys were creating this thing, you know, I always bring up this thing. I think it's maybe 15 years ago now. We're getting old. But when Mark Zuckerberg covered his camera during that talk, and everyone said, if he's covering his camera, and I'm like, this is the sign. Like, these are the guys who are telling us to be aware. Right. So when you talk about, is it progress if it leads to destruction? Yeah. It's like the guys who are making the progress are kind of telling us, we're kind of headed to destruction. You know, is it worth it? And everyone else is like, destruction. let's see. It's like, can we stop and ask the question? Yes. The people at the forefront of it are saying it. All of our literature, point to a story to me in our literature where this story ends well. Wall-E?
You know what I mean? Like, please give me an example. Give me something. Like, can we stop and can we ask the question? And it's so curious to me because we do it on an individual level, and yet on a big scale, we're like, no, it's not permissible to put limits on ourselves. It's very, very
odd.
It's very odd. And I'll tell you what else. To me, it's immature and it's unsophisticated and it's shallow.
It's not self-aware.
It's not self-aware. It's not smart. Like we like laud this kind of pursuit of technology and whatever, like going headlong into it as like intelligent. And so often to me, it's like it's the opposite of that, and it's actually kind of deranged. You know, like you hear like the who was it? It was the CEO of Netflix. Or even Spotify was like, our competition isn't other streaming services. It's silence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
You know, and they think that they sound intelligent and bold. It's like, you sound depraved.
That sounds so scary.
You sound deranged. You sound
silence.
Like a caveman.
Yeah.
Like that is so unsophisticated and uncivilized and immature, and we need to like stop lauding that kind of talk. Or Netflix said a similar thing. The CEO, or I think it was a CEO, said it's like, our competition isn't other streaming services, it's sleep. It's like, you sound depraved.
It's like, where are you mentally? That's where we've gotten to.
That's not smart. That's not leadership. That's crazy.
I have this phrase that I always say. I say it like wherever I'm working, but it's more cooks don't make the food better. Because it's like, if you're getting like a meal and it's one chef, you're not going to be like, nope, not enough.
Yeah,
it's just him. Not food's not going to be good. That's not how you think.
No.
But I thought of it because it's almost like the more of us that think together is the dumber we are. So,
more cooks doesn't always help, and you're right, and yeah. Anyways, I just think it's worthwhile to pause and ask the question of, like, is it progress if the path is to disaster?
Why I like that quote from you so much is because it feels like a rhetorical question. You know? So you're taking a question that almost feels like it doesn't need an answer and saying, no, you have to answer it. And where does that answer take you?
Yeah. Yeah.
On Happiness, there's a bunch of stuff in that song that I like, but you talked before about kind of you viewing the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost like before you're on the street and then now you're like Google Street View, you know, and seeing things differently. And you talk a bit about kind of like the music industry, where you stand, your career. This feels like the album where you have like a lot more of those bars. Is there kind of more of a comfort you feel like in where you stand in the industry, or where you stand in your career? Like, talk about just that. I guess self-awareness. It feels like you have way more than ever.
Yeah, well, there's a level to which, because I'm talking about something very serious, but I'm also talking about it on this big scale. I did want to make sure there were moments in the albums where I was bringing it to the human scale and bringing it to myself, you know, and making sure I have stakes in this question. And it's not just philosophical. It's like, no, I have a stake in this. And so let me talk about what it is to be an artist, what it is to be a musician, independent artist, a guy who, you know, I sing for my supper. You know what I mean? I have to really do this year after year. I don't have a big nest egg. You know, I work for a living, you know, as an artist. And so I have a stake in this in this question, because I still can't play it safe. I have to have the courage to, and that I say in that song, Happiness, every album I'm trying to die.
Yes.
You know,
I love
like
that line.
I need to, I feel like it's my responsibility as an artist to risk something every time. I have to risk my reputation. I have to risk whatever idea I may have of myself. I have to be prepared to risk that. I feel like otherwise I'm failing in my actual work, in my actual calling. And so that's where I tried to insert those moments of, let me talk about what this is really like. You know, I forget how I say, I start that song, I say, went from not broke anymore to still not broke yet.
Yeah.
You know, from couldn't get a cosign to my own debt. Still, I always got to gamble my career. I got to lead by example far as handling the fear. You know, because that's what I'm saying. I'm still out here working for a living, but I need to work in an honest way. And what that means for an artist is I need to take risks.
But I think that's important, you even putting that in there, because there's some kid rapping right now who says, one day I want to be where Shad is today, you know? And so you're kind of saying, this is where Shad is today, where I'm still taking these artistic risks, you know, these thematic risks in the music.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it, because there are a type of artists who at this point in their career, they're like, you know, copy, paste, repeat of what worked before. And I feel like you've never been that.
Yeah.
You know, to be fair, like that would be a different change for you.
Yeah.
But I think that you're saying, like, I know where I stand. I know how, you know, big of a figure I am. But at the same time, I still have to do this in the music. You have this line in there where you said, you said the goal is to get to choose.
The goal's not to, what do I say? The goal's not, it's who can stop, not who's been making moves.
And I'm like, that is like the perfect example of like doing art as a career, you know?
Yeah, you know, and one thing I'm fond of telling young artists too is like, listen, you work really hard on your craft and you really put your heart and soul into that debut mixtape, EP, album, whatever, and it succeeds. I say, you want to know what your reward is? Someone's going to say, do it again.
Facts.
And do it yesterday. Right?
It's like, yes.
That's all it is. It never stops being hard.
No, it's a privilege.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, and I think like that's the part of this that I even at this part, like with the show, I even feel, because there's some artists who I interviewed in the first season of the show who don't make music anymore, and like are full 9 to 5 or behind the scenes, and I'm sure they still have that kind of artistic drive to do things, but to get to do it in this way is a privilege.
Absolutely.
So it's even feeling like that is something else. What's your recording process like? I don't know if I even asked you this before, but like on Happiness, I thought of it because you had that thing in there, like, you know, last take. I'm like, do you do the verses in one take? Are you a punch-in guy? Like, what kind of is your vibe?
I'm a one take guy, just because I don't have. I'm gonna say the word acting, but I don't mean it in the sense of being fake. I mean, really, the best rappers are good actors in the sense that they're good performers, and they can like do a take and stop it mid take, and then come back right with the same feeling and the same tone of voice and everything. I've never really had that skill.
Yeah.
So I kind of got to get through it. I got to get through it. And that if I get a good take, usually I take 3 or 4 passes. I find after 4, it's not going to get better.
Yeah. This is not
going to get better. I need to, at that point, accept, okay, one of these is my best takes, or I need to come back to this tomorrow with a new approach.
Yeah.
And think about it a different way, because after take 4, and that's a tip for young artists there, after take 4 is not going to get better. That's just the reality.
Tell that to Dr. Dre. Yeah. Because I thought about that with some of the songs on here, because I'm like, these songs are pretty dense lyrically, where it's like there's just almost a feat within itself to do these. And when takes it to hear that is what you do is pretty interesting. You had this part in there where you said it's hard to see what's in front of your face. Talk about that. What is the thing you're talking about? And then just, break out that song a little more.
Yeah. So, under this whole theme of Start Anew, confronting endings and stepping into the unknown, one important aspect of that is just looking at reality. And I've noticed this in my own life. It is hard to just look at the facts of reality. And I'll bring it back again to the human scale and to the personal. So part of my spiritual practice, prayer, if you want to call it, is actually just looking at the facts of how I feel and acknowledging that, and looking at the facts of what I've experienced in the last day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Just simply remembering what has transpired and forcing myself to acknowledge that this is what has transpired in my own life.
Yeah.
And I noticed some very interesting things about that. One, when I acknowledge my feelings, I have this impulse with negative emotions to go, but it's okay. So I actually made a rule for myself called no but statements. So I have to say, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm feeling kind of anxious. Period.
That's big. That's big.
Because I realize this reflex almost to trying to minimize or mitigate those things. It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It comes quickly and it shuts that down. So just looking at the reality of my feelings is hard. And then the facts of what's happened. Like, yesterday this happened. Oh, I totally forgot. That's actually significant. And I forgot
like
that happened.
Crazy.
And this happened. I forgot that happened. This happened. Whoa, okay. So I actually have a picture of my life that I didn't have just because I didn't stop to look at the reality. So this is like a long-winded answer to your question, but like it's hard to see what's in front of your face. Sometimes it's hard to just, self-awareness is really, really hard because it is hard. We have a reflex a lot of times. Sometimes it's a protection instinct to just put some things out of our mind and put some things out of our view.
But it's even with...
You can't get anywhere. It's hard to get somewhere without looking at the reality.
It's both things too, because even when we said it's like, it's not just bad things. Sometimes it's good things.
Sometimes it's good things. So, okay, I'll tell you often something that will happen out of this practice of mine is like, okay, I'll say, man, I feel anxious. I feel overwhelmed. Period. Then I'll look at the facts. Everything's good. Except for there's like one thing I need to do that I've been kind of putting off. But everything else is like really good. So then it's like, oh, okay. Actually, my life isn't in shambles. It's actually really good. I just have been putting off this one thing.
And it's bothering me.
Also, I haven't eaten. Also, it's Monday morning and I'm always low mood Monday morning.
Simple. And then when you do, because I started journaling at night now. I'm a morning journal person.
Yeah.
So I started journaling at night to kind of have that reflect of the day and almost similar to what you did, because what you said really resonated with me, because that's like one of my biggest flaws. Like, I have friends send me this meme all the time of it's like, you'll accomplish something amazing and then move on to the next day. Yeah. That is like me to a T. And I'm like, I need to do better at that. So when you kind of like have that reset at the end of the day and go through the past couple of days, whatever, it's like, this has actually been a fine time. Like, I'm proud of where I am as a person, you know? Yeah. But you may be tired or annoyed about something, you know what I mean? And it's like, I had a moment like that over the weekend where we had like a Thanksgiving thing at the crib, and the next day my cousin came over and, you know, we're just hanging out, and we ended up hanging out talking till like 2, 3 in the morning. Yeah. I had to be up early at an appointment at 9. Yeah. So that just kind of like snowballed into the day, and, you know, it's like 2 p.m. and I feel like the SpongeBob meme, like, you know, so much things going on. And in reality, it was like nothing bad happened. I was on time to every single one thing I had to do. Everything went well. Yeah. You know, and it's
You're just tired.
And it's like, you're just human. It's like you can't be mad at yourself for being human. Like, you ain't never gonna not be human. Like, as far as we know, you're gonna be human for a long, long time.
That's right.
So I like that of like, you don't see what's in front of you. Yeah. Because to me, music is its own spiritual practice. Yes. You know, the words that you hear from a musician, like, those are gonna be what kind of is in your head. Like, most of us, a lot of our brain is song lyrics. Like, we got our favorite movie, you know, all the stuff in our favorite movie, song lyrics, our partner's birthday. That's right. And then like miscellaneous facts. Like, that's right.
You're like 10% Alonzo from Training Day. You know what I mean? Like 30% like this artist catalog. Yep. And then some random NBA trivia.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, the music you listen to, the kind of type of time they're on, is really going to affect how you move when you're listening to music. So something like that in the record, that stood out to me because I think that's the hook of that song.
That's right.
And it's like, if someone's repeating that over and over again, like, you almost have to look within yourself, even if you didn't plan to, because this song is kind of telling me that means, over and over again.
That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and I'll say real quickly, another example of that for me is like, you know, there's so many things in our world now pulling our attention in different directions. And sometimes pulling our attention, you know, out to what's going on in the world, which is good. We should all be aware. Yes. But sometimes that can cause us to not see what's in front of our face.
What's actually here, and the humanity, let's say, of people that are right next to you. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like that can really be a trap that we're all susceptible to falling into, of having an enormous amount of tenderness for people way out there.
But the people.
And very little patience and compassion for the people right in front of your face. So that's another, you know, meaning of that chorus is like, sometimes it's hard to see what's in front of your face, but look, like, there's people to care for, there's situations you can affect. Yeah. Anyhow, I'll let you continue.
No, right on the head. And I think, for me, as an artist, like, working in music, thank God I haven't lost my actual fandom for music itself, because when you cover whatever you cover, it happens a lot, like sports, music, arts. And I think as an artist, there's like a vulnerability that's necessary, but almost tricky. And I think of it with some of my friends who are artists, where I like their song, I'm at their event or whatever, and I'm here like, if we put you in this and you were wearing this instead, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, that's not who they are. And I think about it because there's almost like a need to be a superhero from an artist. You know, it's like, I don't want to see Shad wearing what I'm wearing. Shad's this big star. He got to have stuff I don't have. You know, if me and him got the same clothes on, then he ain't so, you know. And I think you've completely like, you know, thrown that to the wayside. Like, you don't have that attempt at that. And this song made me think of that, where it's like, no, I'm just as human as you. You know, like,
no, I think you pointed out something really, really important and interesting about artists that maybe not a lot of people notice, because it is this tricky balance where, if you're not vulnerable, if you're not human, you're not relatable, you're not going to connect.
No,
but at the same time,
not too relatable.
We do love having someone to look up to. We all like that.
Yes.
And having somebody that we admire. So we're also like, Okay, but like
you got to be cooler than me. Like, that's the only way I know what to say is like, and that's why like The Weeknd is always my case study because he to me has done it the best. Where his image and how he behaves in public, it gives someone approachable. But in his lyrics, he's like, "If you come back, I promise I'll love you." Like, you know what I mean? And so you get both sides. Where in the lyrics, he's a down tremendous, but his image is like, you never see my eyes, you can't get close to me. And it's like, again, you can't always strike the balance. But so we said is like, if you don't have that, then you're not going to always connect. I want to talk about Kiss before we get out of here because I feel like this is an important song from the project. You had some words about Kiss that I think were very, very interesting. You said, I wanted to embrace simplicity and also community, things that feel more important to me than ever 20 years in the game. Kiss is about having fun and moving forward. Talk about that, because before you even go on, like you saying that about having fun and moving forward does not sound like a 20-year veteran. So that to be how you ended that whole quote, it, to me is like a testament to kind of where you are as a person, separate from the music. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, you know, the chorus is, you know, keep it simple, stupid. This is music. Give your 2 cents and keep it moving. Like, there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction that I've gotten in my career and still enjoy from just creating and then being able to move on. There's a lot of moving on I've been able to do in my life because of music. Like, I'm a very laid back, easygoing guy by nature. You know, I'm very accommodating. But music gives me the space where I get to say it how I see it. I don't have to be accommodating. I get to dictate how I want it to sound, how I want it to feel. I get to give my 2 cents. I get to speak on it. I get to have these conversations, share my thoughts on this, my little take on that. And then I can go into my life and be the laid back, accommodating person that I really am, because I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel like, no, I'm good. I got to say what I think. And so I don't feel defensive. If someone has a different point of view, I don't feel resentful if I'm gonna be patient or accommodating with somebody, because I know I have my space to say my thing. So that's kind of what that song signifies, you know what I mean? And that's what it's about, you know. It's like one of the gifts of music is just you can give your 2 cents, but then you can keep it moving. And John Kabongo is on that song, and so it's like it also represents that because he comes in, you know, young artist with a lot to say and a lot of talent, and then he, you know, it's almost like pass the baton, and he's doing his thing, and so that's what that song, you know, represents.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of like, I'll call security. It sounds like a security within yourself of like, I don't need to do this because listen, we're going in circles in a sense because before we're talking about get to choose, this is a version of that where it's like, I don't need to do this or act like this because I got to do this. That's right. I love that. You've been on the show before. We've also talked numerous times, not on this show. So you've answered a ton of my foolish questions. You know, and I appreciate every single one of them. Usually we ask our people having exotic animals at the end of the show. We've done that already. So my question for you is, what have you learned about yourself? That is a favorite thing that you've learned about yourself.
Okay, the thing I'll say about music that I learned about myself, that every artist learns, and this is going to sound strange, but I'm going to make it make sense. You learn your flaws and you learn your weaknesses. And you learn to accept them.
Ouch.
You learn to accept them. Listen, every time I'm in the studio, I walk in there all confident with this fantastic new idea for a song, for an album. And then I use my voice. And I go, wow, that's how I sound, I guess. And I go, wow, that's how that verse sounds, I guess. So there's some aspects of this I can make better. Okay, I can tighten this up. I need to work on this. Oh, I need to try the take like that. And it gets better. But at the end of the day, it sounds like me. It's no better than I am as an artist. But you learn to accept that. I've learned to accept that over and over again. Again, it's hard to see what's in front of your face. Well, music makes you look at what's in front of your face. You go, that's as good as I could make it. That's where I'm at. And those are my strengths, those are my weaknesses. Those are some things I cannot change about myself. Those are some things maybe I'll improve on next album, but maybe not. But that's a gift because you learn to accept it. I learned that my love for music is greater than my hatred for my flaws. You know what I mean? It's greater than that. And that's really powerful. That's really liberating. So that's just something I've learned.
Yeah, I think what you said, like calling it, accepting it, is so powerful. Because I think the flaws don't essentially go away. You just have to accept them. Like as a writer, I feel like one of my biggest flaws was like ending out a piece. I feel like I would cook. Like it'd be like 1,200 words of an amazing written piece. I get to the end and it's like English is my third language. And I was like, this is not bad because I'm struggling with the ending. You know? I'll get better, I'll figure it out, but it doesn't make everything that came before bad. And you talked about it musically. Kanye has this phrase where he talks about kind of like vocal insecurity. On the Album Mode podcast, we always talk about it because some of our favorite artists have that vocal insecurity where the voice isn't necessarily strong, necessarily perfect, but that's what makes it cool to listen to. Is the little creaks, the unevenness. And I think like you said, accept it is like, you kind of, once you get to a certain place, you're like, this is me. This is it.
This is me. And that's so powerful and it's inspiring and people love to hear it. You know, Kanye had his turn, of course, but listen, in his prime, he said, everything I'm not made me everything I am.
One of my favorites. That song I ran into the ground.
I mean, it's so simple, but it's so profound. And he unpacks it in the song. Everything I'm not made me everything I am. The very fact that in his case, he's not a good singer.
Yeah.
The very fact that, you know what I mean? Like he was a great rapper and had all of that made 808s and Heartbreaks so powerful and potent and influential. Everything I'm not made me everything I am, man. Like
that's where the power is.
That's where the power is when you can accept that and making music for me, it's like it's forced me to accept that and just see,
I like that as an outro for us because I think it makes you think that that's everyone's power is in that. You know, and once you get to that place, like two people I think of, like, you know, the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, a bunch of examples of all of those things, you know? And he talks about the Beatles of doing all these like random shows that they did leading up to their big break. And it was like, they were amazing performers because they had done these 8-hour shows. And it's like, 8-hour shows are obviously insane. But when you do 8-hour shows for years, when it's time to do a 45-minute set, you're like, bet we got this. And I think about Kanye the same way is Kanye went so hard because he wasn't the like dope boy that Rockefeller was. Like he didn't fit in there. So him not fitting in almost made him go harder. That made him become who he was. So there's all these things that I think of where everything and not maybe everything I am, where someone watching this, like you didn't get something or you weren't something. And that is actually the key.
That's the key. I mean, I think in Outliers, I actually haven't read it, but I was thinking, isn't there an example also of like a large amount of CEOs have dyslexia? Right? Everything I'm not made me everything I am. It's all these people that had to figure out how to navigate the world in a different way because the world was not created for them. And as a result, they developed certain kind of superpowers and abilities that other people didn't have. So
that's my theory about hip hop in the 80s. I said part of I think why you have obviously 80s hip hop is like its own sound, but why you have like the Rakim, KRS group who are like from that era but are better than people now is because of, you know, the hip hop's connection to disco. And it's like rapping over disco now would be like only the best can do this. But disco was part of hip hop at a certain time.
Yes.
You know, every album had that one disco record the way now everyone has that one Afrobeat record. So it's like that faster pace of hip hop, almost like through osmosis, everyone had to rap a little faster, a little better.
Yes.
And so in my mind, I'm like, that's why you get some of the best rappers ever coming from a time. Because in like, say, sports, you don't usually have like some of the best ever coming from kind of a primitive era. In the same way. So I think like something from that era made it become where it's like,
1,000%. And the other thing I think that it is from that era too, because I've thought a lot about this. Like I saw KRS-One perform live a few years ago. And I was like, he's still the best live performer in hip hop. Like,
I believe it.
It's just, there's a level of hunger that he brings to the stage that doesn't even make sense until you remember he's from when that's all there was in hip hop.
Yes.
He's from when all there was in hip hop was stepping on a stage, tearing it up, and everyone in the audience knowing and telling everyone around them, that's the best rapper in New York.
Yeah. And see with your own eyes.
And seeing it with your own eyes, you know? He comes from that. Someone told me this story. This is kind of folklore. I don't know if it's true, but apparently he had an interview on Flow way back in the day, and he skipped the interview, and they were like, KRS-One didn't come through. He probably thought this was small time or whatever.
Yeah.
And he came later and was like, sorry, I missed the interview. A guy on the street wanted to battle.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
Folklore, no, I believe it. I
believe it because he comes from that, like, okay, like
we're doing this.
This is hip hop. We're doing this.
Yeah.
So you take that kind of energy and you put it on a stage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's not
the same. As nobody can match that.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've always said hip hop is in the worst place it's ever been because no one can perform anymore. And like I interviewed for this piece, but I did that piece on the history of hip hop in Canada, especially.
Yeah.
And so most people don't understand hip hop was mostly performed before it was recorded.
Yeah.
Like you had to earn the right to record. Like
I'm from that era. I don't feel like I'm from forever ago.
Yeah,
like,
but even then, like
I'm from that era. Like
no, even then. So it's like the way it's backwards now, where rappers, you know, could have 1,100,000 streams before they even ever have performed.
Yeah.
But you go and see a rapper live, and they're like an actually bad performer. When it's like before, that was like hip hop would almost be more impressive.
Yes.
It could be this one guy on stage, and he's controlling everything. So yeah, we're in a crazy place right now, and especially because I think most of those people don't know that's where it comes from.
Yes.
Like hip hop is known for so much people for being bad performers.
Yes.
That's why I say we're in a crazy place because we're known for that now.
Yeah.
Where before it was like hip hop. No.
Oh, you didn't want to step on stage with a rapper.
Yeah.
You were from another genre? No, because the whole thing was destroying audiences. That's all rap was.
Yeah. It was controlling the crowd.
It was merely absolutely making people go insane. And I'm telling you, people didn't think anyone in Canadian music, period, wanted to step on a stage with Cardinal Official.
No way.
No way, bro. You pull out of that show.
Yeah, like, let me go first. Like, I don't care what's going on. Let me go first.
Go first. Come on. That's what hip hop was, you know, from, I don't feel like that old, but, you know, from coming up lunchroom freestyles, you're trying to make people go crazy. You're at a house party freestyling, you're trying to make people go crazy. You're at a battle, you're trying to make the audience go crazy.
You couldn't melody your way, like respectfully. Like, you know what I'm saying? In a battle, like, you couldn't melody your way into a win, you know? Like, you had to really, really rap.
And it's that visceral reaction, that response of everyone going, ah! That's all it was.
Yeah.
So then, if you do that enough times, someone might give you a beat.
Yeah. It's like, and because you can't just say you're nice. I gotta see it, you know. I gotta see, because it's so funny. Like, a lot of music today doesn't have that feel to it because you're not going for that reaction.
No,
you know, like the reaction is more like you said something so outrageous that I'm like, are you lying? Like, you know what I mean? More than that was so clever and so punchy that I'm impressed. So
it's different.
In the comments, let us know favorite hip hop memory, favorite battle memory. Yeah, because I want to know who actually knows about that time. Let's see where you're at with the ice cream.
I'm almost done.
What? That's basically water.
Yeah. I'm basically done.
Okay, big shout out to you. Okay.
Yeah, I finished this a long time ago.
Okay, don't flex. Like, stay humble. Stay humble. I appreciate you joining us, man. It honestly has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
If you guys don't have it pre-saved, get your pre-save together. Start Anew, October 31st. 7th album. We got that confirmed with the Queen.
That's right.
Yeah, 7th album. Guys, find us on the interwebs. The Cool Table Live on Instagram, The Cool Table on YouTube, AjoSmiley.com and all your platforms. Leave us a rating and a review on all your podcast platforms. 5 stars, not a single star less. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.